This is the March 27th meeting of the Board of Directors of the Troy Community Land Bank Corporation. Okay, so we're recording just so everyone is aware.
All right. Kate, I think we have enough. Do you want to go ahead and call the meeting to order?
Sure. This
Or
is
who's recording?
Tony is.
It is recording, yeah.
Okay.
So this is the April, today is April 27th, 2022, and this is a special meeting of the Troy Community Land Bank. Ms. Chairman, will you please call the roll?
Heather King here. Suzanne Spellin.
Here.
Albert Watson.
Here.
Brian Barker.
Here.
John Carmelo. Pat Riley.
Pat's here.
She's here.
She's on mute.
Jeanette Nicholson.
Here.
Christina
Sorry,
Maribel.
I was
That's
on mute. I
okay,
couldn't
it's
find
okay.
the button. Sorry.
You were here. Christina Maribel.
She's here.
She's
She's
here?
just joining.
Okay.
Just
Yeah.
joined.
Great.
Cool.
Great. Aaron Lozier. All right. Is that everybody? Did I miss anybody?
You missed
I'm
me,
winging
I
it.
think.
Okay.
Oh, Andrew Cooper. I'm sorry.
Is he here?
All right.
Also, Christina Maribel is on as well.
Yeah, we saw you pop on just as I was calling your name. It was great.
Okay, sorry about that.
Okay. No, that's okay. All right. Well, we have in front of us today 3 purchase applications that have been recommended to the board for approval by the A&D committee. It's an application for the purchase of 54 Fifth Avenue, 11 Winney Avenue, and the parcels of vacant land on River Street to be sold to Habitat for Humanity. So Kate, do you want us to approve all 3 at once, or how would you like to do this, considering you have to redo the resolutions?
No, well, they'll all be on one resolution and the attachments, so you can,
Okay.
I would present them. I mean, Tony did some great cheat sheets, you know, you can do that.
Yeah, I did. I like the notes, Tony.
Yeah, I'm trying
the
to
notes that you
standardize them.
did.
I'm trying to standardize them and reduce the scribble.
Okay, so the first one was 54 Fifth Avenue. And there was no conditions
Hello?
recommended by A&D.
Correct.
Okay, and let me see the cheat sheets. Let's see, the purchase price would be on the
Going down all the
application. All right. So the listing price was $174,777, and the purchase offer is $169. And it's going to be an owner occupant, correct?
Yes. Actually, the applicant is participating in the meeting, just so everyone's aware.
Oh, nice. Okay, so does anybody have any questions? Do I have a motion to approve?
This is Suzanne. I move we approve.
Okay, I'll make the second. Albert,
I'm
how do you
Oh.
vote? Okay,
Oh, I approve.
Jeanette,
Yes.
Brian? He approved, yes, in advance. Andrew Cooper.
Yes.
All right, John Carmelo is absent. Aaron Lozier is absent. Pat Riley,
Yes.
Christina Maribel.
She's on mute.
Oh,
There she is.
yes, I'm sorry.
Okay.
I apologize.
All right, did I miss anybody? All right.
Brian.
Brian just
Brian's
joined
back.
again if you want to get him on record.
All right, Brian. How do you vote for the sale of 54 Fifth Avenue?
Thank you.
Guess he really isn't a no service zone.
Oh, yes, okay. Well, we have enough to pass. All in favor?
Hi.
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
No.
No.
Okay, So let's move on to 11 Winney Avenue. The notes on this one from the committee was that they recommended landlord tenant training. The
Heather-
listing
Heather-
price.
Heather, I spoke
Yeah.
to the applicant last night and she's actually already signed up.
Oh, fantastic.
Going to get training from a community-based organization down in Pawtucket, I
Island.
think is where she down in Rhode Island. So she actually sounded very, very, very upbeat about the trainings. So just to let you know.
The training's great, actually, especially
Yeah.
for the first time. All right, list price was 159,777. Purchase offer is 150, and this will also be an owner occupant, correct?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay,
Is
So
that,
do-
I have a question just about the training.
Yeah.
We say we strongly recommend it. Is it conditional or is that something we make conditional or that's just a sort of conversational part of the process? I just don't recall ever having done that before, so.
We did it when the board approved 54 previously. As I recall, A&D's recommendation yesterday, and somebody correct me if I'm wrong, but the recommended condition was that the applicant obtain first-time homeowner and tenant training before, at least sign up for it before closing.
Yes,
Did I get that right, guys?
Yes.
Yes.
it's landlord and home ownership, yeah.
Yeah.
Right. And we also, I think Kate suggested that we make it part of the actual process. And I fully support that.
And how do we confirm that training was
Certificate of
completed?
completion.
There's a certificate, okay.
Or at least a
Um,
confirmation email if we're only requiring that she apply for it before closing. We would at least want some sort of like confirmation email or paid receipt or something like that.
Yeah, and I've actually asked for that, so that'll be forthcoming.
And do we, I mean, I know those are fairly common things that are available. We don't have it, we're not assessing like any particular program to say like what they do or don't cover. We're just gonna accept that if it's
A&D kind of talked about that yesterday. There's a bunch of places, I mean, Trip, Home Quarters are two places that we talked about yesterday. But I think the bottom line from what I heard, and again, correct me if I'm wrong, was as long as the training is from an organization that seems like, it's not fly by night.
yeah, it gets, I mean, that's welcome to my business of training. And so suddenly I'm like, wait, this gets really tricky if you really want to know what is being trained and or what happened and or anything. So, but I mean, that's fine with me, just that we know they're following through on some,
That's why I asked if they would
I was
send
curious,
me
bro.
a link to the organization and the training and all that. So to just vet it out to make sure it's the real deal.
What I think we're gonna do is A&D is gonna take another hard look at the application and possibly the disposition policy to make a determination about updating both to the extent that you're doing a rental and or you're a first-time home buyer to require this. And my suggestion, we're not going to worry about it now, but we probably should put out there, a handful of programs that we know are accredited for that, you know what I mean, for
Right.
people to choose from. But, in this case, as long as, it's a housing organization downstate, and they can get us a certificate, that would be great. But I think, we have to give some direction on that if we're going to require it. And then, we know like a Trip or, someone like that, that's what they do. So we're comfortable with that program. But I think at some point A&D will have that discussion and turn it more into a policy.
Yeah, I think standardizing that as a requirement for first-time landlords, first-time homeowner is a good idea. Because otherwise, how do you, who's assessing whether a person needs it or not? Because
Right.
there's no way to know.
No,
that.
I agree with you. Yep.
I did have a
Alright,
question.
that was my only thought.
What's the monitoring as far as, because I said, from what I heard, it said that it had to be owner occupied. Is there like someone or something that monitors that to make sure that it is owner occupied? Or is it just like, we're just gonna believe that the person will be buying the property and moving from wherever they are up here into that property?
Well, I think
Agree.
it's a good point. I think that at some point we'll have to, because she is moving, we'll have to follow up and ask for, a copy of her license being changed, a utility bill, something that's going to show she receives mail there, voting records, something. But I will say, having been counsel to other land banks, usually they don't necessarily take it that far. But I know A&D had a similar, I wouldn't call it a concern, but they, is she really going to be there? So it's tough to enforce that without some sort of records or whatnot, but usually we don't collect that.
Is there any other questions? I'll make a motion to approve. Do I have a second?
A second.
Was that Christina?
It was, yeah.
Okay. Albert,
I approve. I'm okay with it.
Jeanette,
Yes,
Andrew Cooper,
Yes,
Brian Barker. Voted yes earlier. Suzanne Spellin,
Yes,
Pat Riley,
yes,
and John Carmelo and Aaron Lozier are absent today. Okay, we have a purchase application. This is from Habitat for Humanity for the vacant lots located on River Street. And A&D made this recommendation, not the meeting from this week, but prior. And Tony, do you want to refresh everybody's memory on what that was?
Yeah, first of all, I apologize for not circulating that around. So Habitat is, and I don't have the information in front of me, shoot. Habitat is interested in purchasing 806, 808, 810, 812, 814. There's one address too many there. Which 814 is the vacant lot that we purchased from Vesta Communities a couple of months ago. The other parcels we have owned for a number of years, and as I think everyone knows, we have land banked MM for future development, and Habitat is submitted a purchase application to us to redevelop those sites for, I'm actually not sure if it's single family detached development or 2-family detached development. They need to go to the zoning board and the planning commission to adjust the lot lines so to accommodate, the buildings.
I'm looking at so what they're offering is 38,300. And the redevelopment plan is to construct 2 duplex buildings, 6 dwellings altogether. The management plan for it is Habitat has a list of interested home buyers that undergo home ownership and other related training, such as property management. The property manager will be Habitat. All units will be owner occupied. Projected to sell by end of 2023. Let me see, total redevelopment costs. It was a pretty, go ahead.
I believe, and Tony, correct me if I'm wrong, but they're getting some ARPA funds to complete this project, I think.
Yes. Well, I know out of the city council allocation of 1.5 million, which we were a part of, they were also a part of that budget line. So it sounds to me like $500,000 is being allocated from that budget line to Habitat. I could be wrong about that, but that's what the math would seem to indicate.
Okay.
So one of the conditions I think that we made is that if so the purchase application, they need something from us in order for them to be able to go in front of zoning in order to start getting the variances needed to move forward with the redevelopment of the site. So there are a lot of moving pieces here. So A&D did make a recommendation to approve the sale of the vacant land to Habitat. However, with the caveat that if they don't get their if they don't get their approvals, if they don't get their, that we have, what is it, Kate, like the right of first refusal to take the properties back, the land back?
No, it's probably gonna be a reversionary clause, not a right of
Okay.
first refusal, but yeah, it's.
Yeah, I
similar
didn't
to
know,
that.
yeah, I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah, and I just want to make sure I understand it because, you know, we'll be doing the contract, but part of all this and the reason why I wanted to sign contract from them before we give them our power of attorney to go to zoning. So at least we're under contract. So I don't want to sign off on zoning until they send us the contract back with a down payment. Usually Habitat will move to close pretty quick once they get title. So I don't think it's their intention necessarily to drag this out. Maybe, I don't know. Did you get the sense that they want it contingent upon all government approvals, or they're just going to buy it outright?
I believe they're going to just buy it outright. I shouldn't say that. I don't know for sure.
Okay, let's find out, because we're gonna have to draft a contract for that. That's usually what they do, because there really shouldn't be a reason why they wouldn't get government approvals. But, you know, that might be delayed, you know, maybe, but
Okay. So is this something that we should vote on today, or should we just table this?
no, you need to vote on it for the sale so I can do a contract. I'll work out the details. And that way, you know, once they return the signed contract, we can sign off on whatever they need to go to zoning, and we'll see what happens.
Okay. Does anybody have any questions for Kate on this process, on this particular transaction?
I've got one. This is Andrew. Would there be a contingency on this particular development plan? I mean, I don't know what the chances are that they would not, like, they would change their approach or want to do something different, and it's still Habitat, so I imagine it would still be, you know, fairly consistent approaches to whatever they would do. And does that matter? Would we be concerned, or would they really need to, you know, we discussed what if they don't get approvals, which seems unlikely, first of all, but what if their plan changes significantly or something like that? I don't know.
All of our enforcement notes and reverters are project specific.
Yeah, okay.
So
I thought
yeah,
so, but I wanted to be sure. Yeah.
yeah. So, you know, and I'm gonna spell it out. I mean, this one in particular, like I said, there's ARPA funds, I think, connected to it. So they got a lot on the line, you know what I mean? And
Sure.
they've been discussing with us for almost a year now, and the housing authority, and, you know, there's been this bigger picture of housing in Troy. So this project has been on the burner for a while. Pretty much, I think we were all waiting for the city to disperse ARPA funds and get that going so that projects can go forward.
This is Suzanne. So once we sell the land, we have no say in the design or anything like that.
No,
Okay, hope they
We-
do it
we-
good.
we usually never do per se.
Uh-huh.
A&D is working on, and so many things have gotten backburnered for a lot of reasons, but A&D's been working on design standards. So, and hopefully we'll have a draft to the board to adopt, so that at least we can point to it and say, you know, but Habitat, I mean, I don't know of any issues with other clients that I've had where they haven't done good work. I don't know if other people had other experiences.
No, their things are usually good, but it's across the street from me, so I'm concerned.
Gotcha, gotcha.
I got a question about the sales price. Is that something they offered, or did we have an amount in mind that we wanted to sell it for, or is that just something they offered?
The sales price was essentially 814 was formally appraised and came in at $10,000, which also happened to be the assessed value. And the other properties, so the price, the calculation was that one appraisal plus what the assessed values were all summed together. So that's how the figure came to be.
Okay.
Does putting them all, they're all contiguous, right? So
Yes.
I'm not a real estate person, but it seems to me the value would be proportionally greater because they're all together, as opposed to just 3 independent lots that have individual appraisals. But I don't know if that's true or not. And I'm not particularly concerned about the price, but I think it's a good question. Like, is this a fair price overall? So I don't know.
I suppose we could get an appraisal for the combined assemblage.
It's too late.
Well,
for
I'm not
that.
suggesting we hold up a sale
Yeah,
for
no.
that, but
Yeah,
I was
no.
curious.
I know,
I don't even know
yeah.
if that's true. That was just my gut saying like, well, if they're all together, potentially it's more flexible of a thing and maybe it's worth more.
I don't know if Heather wants to comment, but from my experience with other clients and municipalities with the vacant lots, the argument is always made that they're contiguous, so there's a higher value, but that is not necessarily true at all. Because an appraiser comes in and says, okay, vacant lot, it's buildable, it's this, it's that. I mean, 814 is a perfect example. It's only worth about 10,000. And I personally think that might be a little high just based upon what I've seen. But, appraisals don't necessarily work that way, commercial ones, Andrew. I guess that's what I'm saying. And as public authorities, we're exempt, land banks are exempt, but other public authorities would need to get an appraisal and would have to sell for the appraised value. And that's a catch-22, because if
Sure.
someone comes through and says, hey, here's X, and you're like, great, it could appraise for way lower than that. And then there's something out there where they could say, well, no, now we're not gonna. In fact, I'm thinking of 2 municipalities where in the land bank where that happened, the land bank tried to sell high and they said, no, here's the appraisal. We're not paying that. It's not worth it. So,
Sure.
and it was in a high project area that is a big project. So the thought was it's really valuable, but the reality is it's not.
So the only thing I'll weigh in, I will not weigh in on giving an opinion of value on these particular parcels, but I will tell you there's different ways of valuing things. There's the as is value, which as is each individual lot stands right now, which is how Habitat is purchasing them. How much is it worth? What can you do on the site? What is the possibility for development? There's all these factors that go in that present the as is value. Then you have what's called the subject to value, where all these hypothetical conditions can be applied to it, such as obtaining zoning variances, going in front of the board. But these are things that have not happened and may not happen. So, and this opinion of value is contingent upon those things all coming to pass. So Habitat is currently purchasing these as is.
Got it. Actually, a follow-up, sort of unrelated. So we're actually approving 3 lots, 3 separate sales, because or we're selling them.
So the
It's
lots
one sale
are,
of all 3.
the lots are 806-808 is one parcel, 810 is another parcel, 812 is another parcel, and 814 is another
Oh, it's
parcel.
4.
Yeah.
And is it 4 sales or is it one? I mean, it doesn't really matter.
It's one. It's a bundle, so it's not uncommon for them to put all lots. It's the same terms, same for one purchase price. They just reference all 4 tax map IDs in the sales contract.
Okay.
Okay, I'll make a motion to approve. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, Andrew. Albert?
Yes.
Jeanette?
Yes.
Brian Barker? He is absent. Suzanne Spellin?
Yes,
Christina Maribel?
she had to leave, but she had a note that said she approved.
Okay. Pat
In the
Riley?
chat.
Yes.
All right. John Carmelo and Aaron Lozier are absent. All right. Anything else on the agenda for today?
Not that I'm aware of.
Al, I'd like to say hello to you, Al, and also I'd like to say thank you to Shay and Sherry are both on the call as well. I'd like to say thank you to both of you too. And Al, we look forward to meeting you. If he's still on the call.
I'm still here.
Yeah. All right. Well, welcome. All right. So we're gonna check your email, your inboxes. There's gonna be a lot of administrative things going on over the next few days and the next week, and some restructuring internally. Like Kate had said, the purchase applications, we need to schedule a governance meeting. There's quite a bit of spring cleaning that needs to happen. Okay. So have a nice week. Make a
You as
motion to
well.
adjourn. I'm going to make a motion to adjourn. Do I have a second?
Second,
All right, Suzanne, all in favor?
aye.
Aye.
Bye-bye.
Any opposed? Oh, and Elliot, congratulations. You're welcome.
Hmm.
I don't know if he's still, or Elijah,
Elijah.
sorry. Congratulations. You're welcome. All right.
Bye, guys.
All right. Bye,
Bye-bye.
guys. Thank
Bye.
you.
Yeah, everybody,
Sarah.
yep.